Hello there, very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News. I'm Tracy Shilchi and here are the headlines. Parliament stares at a complete washout as the demonetization debate remains at a standstill. Last day of the winter session, opposition to meet President over the issue and Congress to meet Prime Minister seeking loan waivers for farmers. Mega prizes await buyers and sellers in government's big cashless push. National Institute for Transforming India, (IOG) announces reward schemes from 1,000 to 1 crore rupees. Over 3,000 people evacuated from rebel-held areas in Aleppo and are being taken to Idlib. UN envoy to Syria, though, predicts it could be the next Aleppo if political solution is not found to the civil war. US President Barack Obama vows action against Russia for alleged interference in the US presidential election campaign. Moscow is accused of hacking emails of Hillary Clinton's key aide. And India takes on Australia in the semi-finals of the Men's Junior Hockey World Cup in Lucknow today after beating Spain 2-1 in the quarterfinals. Well, our top story this morning, BJP's parliamentary party meeting is underway to discuss strategy to counter the opposition's charges against the government in both houses of parliament. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is attending the meeting and is likely to address BJP MPs to address demonetization and also the Augusta Westland chopper deal issues. Today is the last day of the month-long winter session of Parliament, which witnessed a near-complete washout due to the impasse of a demonetization. Yesterday, senior BJP leader and former Deputy Prime Minister L.K. Advani expressed anguish over the non-functioning of Parliament for a month. And this even as top Congress leaders led by the leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha, Ghulam Nabi Azad, will also be meeting the Prime Minister later today and demand a loan waiver for distressed farmers in the country. The three main demands on the table are loan waiver for farmers, reducing their power bills by half, and helping them get remunerative minimum support price for their produce. The Congress has collected over 2 crore Kisan Mang Patras from across poll-bound Uttar Pradesh and over 34 lakh such letters from Punjab, which also goes to polls early next year. Azad will be accompanied by Punjab Congress Chief Amrinder Singh and Uttar Pradesh PCC Chief Raj Babbar, besides other senior party leaders. And like we said, today is the last day of the winter session of Parliament and the issue of demonetization has disrupted Parliament proceedings through the session, leading to a near washout. Opposition parties led by the Congress will also be meeting President Pranab Mukherjee today to apprise him of problems caused by demonetization. The meeting is slated for 12:30 p.m. Opposition leaders will also raise the issue of them not being allowed to speak in Parliament. The decision to meet the President was taken at a meeting of the opposition held in the chamber of Leader of the Opposition in Rajya Sabha, Ghulam Nabi Azad, on Thursday. The leader said that they were elected representatives of the country and had every right to speak in Parliament, and it was unconstitutional not to allow them to speak in both houses. Opposition leaders have been meeting every morning to decide on a united strategy in Parliament during the winter session, which has been a virtual washout. Representatives of the Congress, Trinamool Congress, BSP, SP, JDU, CPI, CPIM, NCP, DMK and the All India United Democratic Front were present in Thursday's meeting. And all these demands were raised in Rajya Sabha on Thursday, while the BJP accused the Congress of corruption. No business could be transacted through the day as the House witnessed several adjournments.
Allegations and counter-allegations marked proceedings on the penultimate day of the winter session of Parliament. The upper house saw angry exchanges between the Treasury and the opposition benches as soon after the House conducted formal business. BJP members moved to the aisles and levelled allegations of corruption against the Congress. Meanwhile, the opposition led by the Congress demanded farm loan waiver for farmers hit by weather vagaries and demonetization. Leader of the House Ghulam Nabi Azad also slammed the BJP members for disrupting proceedings of the House.
This is first time in the history of India after independence that it is the ruling party which does not allow the House to function and which disturbs the proceedings of the House.
Launching a counter-offensive, the government refuted Azad's claims while accusing the Congress of corruption.
ये ऑनरेबल मेंबर केवल ये कह रहे हैं कि करप्शन के कुएं से कांग्रेस का एक और कंकाल निकला है, तो उस कंकाल का डीएनए क्या है? कंकाल का डीएनए करप्शन है, कंकाल का डीएनए भ्रष्टाचार है, कंकाल का डीएनए जो है वो जनधन की लूट है, तो उस पे हम ये चर्चा चाहते हैं और हर दिन ये बात सामने आ रही है।
The sparring affected zero hour and question hour. Even in the post-lunch session, the war of words continued.
किसानों की हालत बहुत खराब है। नोटबंदी से और हालत खराब हुई। हम चाहते थे कि प्रधानमंत्री किसानों को कर्जा माफी की घोषणा करें। इससे पूरे देश के किसानों को लाभ मिलेगा।
किसान मर रहा है, उसका अनाज सड़ रहा है, उसको नया बोने के लिए पैसा नहीं है। इनसे कहिए कि किसानों का कर्जा माफ करें, वो आत्महत्या करने पे मजबूर हो रहा है।
इसलिए 3.5 करोड़ उसका खेत में सड़ गया, बाजार में मेरे को समझ में आया।
With little signs of reconciliation, the chair adjourned the House till Friday.
The House stands adjourned till 11 a.m. on Friday, 16th December.
With inputs from Vishal Daya, Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And highlighting the actions taken against black money, Economic Affairs Secretary Shaktikant Das on Thursday said that the government is making all efforts to stabilize the crash crunch in the country post-demonetization. He also said that 50% of the currency ban drive has been completed since the 8th of November.
The government will soon start easing restrictions on cash withdrawals in a first since the announcement to demonetize 500 and 1,000 rupee notes. The restrictions will come into force once 80% of the new currency is rechannelized through bank deposits. The restrictions on cash withdrawals will be first eased in the case of cooperative banks and then for all scheduled commercial banks. The government also said, as of now, 50% of the deposits in banks are in the new currency, which shows that the money is gradually being remonetized. All restrictions will be withdrawn once the situation stabilizes.
The situation has been constantly improving day by day. Steadily it is improving, and as we went by, the more and more production lines have now been diverted for printing 500 rupee notes, because there is we have enough number of 2000 rupee notes which have already been supplied, and there is enough number of stock which is available. But the printing of 500 rupee notes have now been significantly stepped up, and it is being pushed into it is being sort of supplied to the market.
Speaking on possibility of counterfeiting of new notes, the government said the number of new 500 rupee and 2000 rupee currency notes is very less, and that they are also completely indigenous.
This is the first time that these 500 rupee notes and 2000 rupee notes which you are seeing have been entirely indigenously designed. The security features also have been inbuilt. So to that extent, these notes are much more much more secure, and the possibility or the scope of counterfeiting or imitation or counterfeiting or coming out with fake Indian currency notes, to that extent it is far lower than the kind of scope which existed earlier.
Earlier in the day, the government had said old 500 rupee notes will not be acceptable from midnight tonight, with the government deciding not to extend exemptions beyond December 15th. However, they can still be deposited into banks. Demanding an immediate rollback of demonetization, TMC and CPIM both held protest rallies outside the RBI office in Kolkata.
We are protesting in front of Reserve Bank so that this illegal demonetization, illegal rationing of taking out their own money of the common people is withdrawn.
कालाधन ले आएगा विदेश से, हर आदमी को बैंक अकाउंट में 15 लाख रुपया जमा पड़ेगा। आया था एक पैसा। ये सब चीटिंगबाजी खेल है। आम आदमी का पूरा परेशान हो रहा आम आदमी को। इसके खिलाफ हम लोग।
In a related development, the Delhi High Court has postponed the hearing on the pleas seeking withdrawal of the newly introduced 2000 rupees notes and rollback of demonetization to December 22nd. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Nithya Aayog on Thursday announced daily, weekly and mega awards for consumers and merchants to encourage a transition to digital payments. The award scheme will take place between the 25th of December to the 14th of April 2017. The National Payment Corporation of India will implement these schemes, and the government will incur 340 crore rupees for this incentivization program.
Giving a big cashless push, the Nithya Aayog announced 2 schemes to reward both consumers and merchants for digital payments. The awards will be offered through the Lucky Grahak Yojana for consumers and the Digi Dhan Vyapari Yojana for merchants. Under the Lucky Grahak Yojana, 15,000 winners will get 1,000 rupees each day, while weekly awards with a maximum prize of 1 lakh rupees will be given to 7,000 people. On April 14th, a mega award of 1 crore rupees will be announced. Under the Digi Dhan Vyapari Yojana, 7,000 winning merchants will receive prizes worth up to 50,000 rupees every week. Awardees will be selected through a random draw of digital transaction IDs. Both schemes will cover small transactions between 50 rupees and 3,000 rupees to encourage every section of the society to move towards digital payments. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Supreme Court questioned the centre on Thursday on the way it had handled the aftermath of demonetization. The apex court asked why there was unequal distribution of new currency notes among people. 3-member bench headed by Chief Justice T.S. Thakur asked the centre to adhere to its notification, allowing the withdrawal of 24,000 rupees per week after senior Supreme Court lawyer Kapil Sibal argued that people are facing difficulties as they did not get money as mandated by the centre. The court was also of the view that scrapped currency notes should be accepted in government hospitals so that people could avail medical facilities. CJI Thakur also raised concerns on how some people were able to stash lakhs of rupees in new currency given the current situation, and asked the government about its policy on supplying new notes to different bank branches. In fact, drawing attention to the people's problems, the bench also indicated that it may pass an interim order to reduce their inconvenience. With a quick break here, but we'll be back with more news in a bit. Stay with us.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back. Now, all exemptions for the use of old 500 and 1,000 rupee notes are no longer acceptable except when deposited in your bank accounts. And in fact, the RBI on Thursday imposed certain restrictions on withdrawal if more than 2 lakh rupees has been deposited after November 9th in an account which has a balance of over 5 lakh rupees. This has been done to tighten the noose around those who misused banking channels to park unaccounted money. Withdrawal or transfer of funds will not be permitted in accounts without quoting of PAN or submission of Form 60. The RBI also said monthly withdrawal limit of 10,000 rupees will be maintained even if a small amount has witnessed increase in annual permissible deposit of 1 lakh rupees. Private sector lender Axis Bank has said that so far suspended 50 accounts and 20 employees for suspicious activities. The bank said that investigators acted on a tip-off provided by the bank itself. The bank, however, admitted that the adverse publicity was affecting its brand but hoped this was temporary. Meanwhile, in a major haul, police seized 10.10 crore rupees after intercepting a vehicle in eastern Mumbai and detained 3 persons. The seizure included 10 crore rupees in scrap denomination and 10 lakh rupees in new currency. The police found the notes stuffed in 2 gunny bags after they flagged down the car on Thursday evening. Now, the government's digital financial literacy campaign is getting a good response, says Union HRD Minister Prakash Javadekar. The Vittya Saksharta Abhiyan was launched last week through the country and has already got 1 lakh volunteers from various colleges. The campaign is the biggest voluntary effort in digital financial transaction. The scheme was launched under which heads of education institutions have been advised to give students credit for taking forward the centre's financial literacy campaign for a cashless economy.
भारत में सभी कॉलेजेस और यूनिवर्सिटीज में हम वित्तीय साक्षरता अभियान का प्रारंभ कर रहे हैं। किसी भी देश के लिए ये वित्तीय साक्षरता डिजिटल फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी कैंपेन ये जरूरी है और इसमें युवा बड़े संख्या में शामिल हो रहे खुद होकर, और आज 1 लाख संख्या हो गई है जिन्होंने खुद को वॉलंटियर किया है इस अभियान में। मैं उन सबका स्वागत करता हूं और मुझे विश्वास है कि यह संख्या 25 लाख तक बढ़ेगी।
West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee met RBI Governor Urjit Patel to express concern over logistical issues in the demonetization process. The Trinamool Congress chief also handed a letter to Patel in which she mentioned political discrimination among states and said RBI was an institute that should not be used politically. In the letter, Banerjee also wrote that the whole country is going through unprecedented misery and suffering due to the cruel misadventure of demonetization as the unorganized sector, which provides jobs to 5 crore workers, has collapsed.
We informed everything, what is going on throughout the country. The hardship of the people, that we expressed our views that unorganized sector, the agricultural sector, the small shopkeepers, the traders, even the tea garden workers and jute industry workers, even from small industry to big industry, and unorganized sector also, even from big industry to IT industry also. More than 5 crores have become jobless now. And the people are really, they are starving for death and they are dying. So before they have demonetized all this, there should have been some planning, something. No plan was there, resulting in which the notes are not available, ATMs are not working in proper manner.
The nation is paying tributes to martyrs who laid down their lives during the 1971 India-Pakistan War on the occasion of Vijay Divas. Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar, along with the 3 service chiefs, paid tributes to the martyrs at Amar Jawan Jyoti. On this day in 1971, Pakistani forces led by General Amir Abdullah Khan Niazi surrendered to the Allied forces consisting of the Indian Army and the Mukti Wahini, led by General Jagjit Singh Arora in Dhaka after their defeat in the war. The end of the war also resulted in the creation of Bangladesh. Bangladeshi Home Minister Asaduddin Khan, along with a 72-member delegation of war veterans, will also take part in the Vijay Divas celebrations in Kolkata. Here's a look at what else is making news across the country in Nationwide. The Supreme Court and High Court judges may soon get a fatter pay packet as the government is likely to bring a bill in this regard in the next session of Parliament. PTI is quoting sources as saying that the issue is under active consideration and a bill to amend the High Court and Supreme Court judges' Salaries and Conditions of Service Amendment Act may come up in the budget session of Parliament, which may begin in the first week of February next. Industrialist Nusli Wadia has filed a defamation suit against Tata Sons in the Bombay High Court. The suit is seeking damages for harming his reputation while proposing to remove him as an independent director of 3 of Tata Group companies. Wadia has sought crores of rupees in damages, but its quantum is not known immediately. Founder of Sulabh International, Bindeshwar Pathak, has been nominated as a member of the Central Authority of National Legal Services Authority, or NALSA. He was nominated as the member along with the Chief Justice of Jharkhand High Court by the Ministry of Law and Justice. Pathak has pioneered in providing low-cost sanitation in the country through his movement, Sulabh movement, and was recently appointed brand ambassador of the Swachh Rail mission. In Tamil Nadu, DMK President M. Karunanidhi has been admitted to a private hospital in Chennai late last night for treatment of cold and indigestion. The 93-year-old former Chief Minister was admitted to Kaveri Hospital. His admission in the same hospital comes about a week after he was discharged from there after undergoing treatment for drug-induced allergy. Now to the top international story, and an operation to evacuate thousands of civilians and fighters from the last rebel bastion in Aleppo is currently underway. The development comes as part of a ceasefire deal that would end years of fighting for the city and mark a major victory for Syrian President Bashar al-Assad.
A convoy of ambulances followed by a long line of green buses drove out of the devastated rebel-held area of Aleppo. More than 3,000 people have been evacuated so far, allowing Syria's regime to take full control of the city after years of fighting. The sick and injured arrived in the city's western countryside on Thursday. The full evacuation may take several days.
نحن موجودين الآن في خان عسل المنطقة بين النظام والمعارضة موجودين هنا لاستلام حلبيين بعد الاتفاق.
The UN envoy for Syria said that the people are likely to be evacuated to the rebel stronghold of Idlib, predicting it could be the next Aleppo if no political solution is found to the civil war.
Va passer à Idlib. Mais je regrette de vous dire, nous ne savons pas, mais si on a vu ce qui s'est passé à Alep, et s'il n'y a pas un accord sur le cessez-feu, et s'il n'y a pas une discussion politique, Idlib devient la prochaine Alep.
As many as 100 United Nations employees walked off their jobs temporarily on Thursday, protesting the bloody violence in Aleppo.
We, the staff of the United Nations, wish to express our deep concern and outrage over the suffering of the people of Syria. We therefore stand in solidarity with the civilians, and particularly the mothers, the fathers, the kids, the children who are suffering from abuses, indignity and destruction caused by ongoing violations of international norms. We stand united in solidarity with the people of Syria. We call upon the member states of the United Nations, in particular the Security Council, to take urgent practical action to end the horror in Syria.
The rebel withdrawal began after Syrian forces launched a new offensive to recapture Aleppo, handing the regime its biggest victory in more than 5 years of civil war. President Bashar al-Assad hailed the liberation of Aleppo and said history was being made.
على سيدنا رسول الله وبعد نزول الوحي. التاريخ ليس نفسه قبل وبعد. نقول الوضع السياسي قبل سقوط الاتحاد السوفيتي وبعده بين الحربين العالميتين وهكذا.
The evacuation for civilians was originally supposed to take place on Wednesday but fell apart following artillery exchanges and resumed airstrikes. The agreement was revived after fresh talks between Syrian regime ally Moscow and opposition supporter Ankara. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
US President Barack Obama has vowed to take action against Russia for its meddling in the US presidential election. The White House on Thursday suggested that Russian President Vladimir Putin was directly involved in a hacking operation aimed at interfering with the US election, specifically in an attempt to support Donald Trump. President-elect Trump, however, was angered by the accusations and said that he won the November 8th elections fairly. He accused the Democratic Party of using hacking as an excuse for its defeat. While Russian officials denied all accusations of interference in the US election, the US claims that it has evidence that Putin had a direct role in hacking during the presidential election campaign.
I think there is no doubt that when any foreign government tries to impact the integrity of our elections, that we need to take action, and we will, at a time and place of our own choosing. Some of it may be explicit and publicized, some of it may not be. But Mr. Putin is well aware of my feelings about this because I spoke to him directly about it.
The statement that was issued by the intelligence community, it reflected the unanimous opinion and conclusion of all 17 intelligence agencies. And they reported publicly that Russia was engaged in malicious cyber activity to erode public confidence in our democracy.
And now let's take a look at some more international news updates in World Wrap. European leaders agreed on Thursday to extend sanctions against Russia for another 6 months and also struck a deal with the Netherlands over a cooperation pact involving Ukraine. The bloc's 28 leaders meeting at a summit in Brussels agreed that the sanctions, which were imposed in 2014 over Moscow's role in eastern Ukraine, remain in force until at least the end of June 2017. Meanwhile, the EU leaders also agreed to Dutch demands that the bloc's landmark association agreement with Ukraine will not entail future EU membership for Kiev. Incoming UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has announced the appointment of Nigeria's Environment Minister Amina Mohammed to be the UN's Deputy Secretary-General. Senior Brazilian Foreign Ministry official Maria Luisa Ribeiro Viotti will serve as Guterres' chief of staff, while Kyung-Wha Kang of South Korea was appointed to be the special advisor on policy. Guterres has made gender parity a priority of his tenure, which begins from the 1st January. British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson summoned the Russian and Iranian ambassadors to convey his concern over their countries' role in Aleppo in Syria. Johnson said in a statement in London that both Russia and Iran have failed to uphold their obligations under international humanitarian law. He said that both the countries need to ensure the UN now oversees the evacuation process and that all civilians and non-combatants are properly protected. Facebook has announced new features to help combat fabricated news stories on the world's largest social network. New reporting features are being rolled out along with other changes designed to combat the spread of misinformation. Facebook was widely criticized last month after some users complained that fake news had influenced the US presidential election. The new features include the ability to flag fake stories as well as possible future changes to Facebook's algorithm. All right, some sports now. And in hockey, India will take on Australia in the semi-finals of the Men's Junior World Cup in Lucknow today. Indian Colts advanced in the semi-finals last evening after beating Spain 2-1. While in the quarter-finals, Australia defeated the Netherlands 2-1 to reach the last four stage. The home side has been a terrific form and they remain unbeaten from the group stage. India last won the trophy in 2001. And in cricket, England have scored 13 runs so far, losing 1 wicket in the opening session of day 1 of the 5th and final test being played at Chennai today. Winning the toss and opting to bat first, England lost its early Keaton Jennings as he was caught behind on a wide delivery by Ishant Sharma. Joe Root and Alistair Cook are now at the crease. India is looking to register a new record unbeaten streak in the final test match against England. If India wins the final test, it will be their biggest victory against England, the previous being the 3-0 whitewash in 1992-93 under Mohammad Azharuddin's captaincy. And that's it on the Breakfast News. Thanks for joining us.